right, so I'm doing 4 songs that I need to practice for Sunday, which is tomorrow, and a couple of them I don't know the chords for, so I'm gonna have to look that up. But let's just get started here with number 1, the Uncloudy Day. I hear my geese coming. Wow, it's about to get really loud. About to get really loud there for that. And I'm not singing lead on any of these, so this is also a good mandolin practice for me. But anyway, I've got to also do the intro, and I'll have 1 break. And the way we do our breaks is to keep the songs a little shorter. We do the verse for the break, okay? So a lot of times you'll hear a verse, or you'll hear a verse chorus for a break. Well, that's how we do it. All right. Here we go. So that would be my intro, something similar to that. Okay. I'm very melody driven, so keeping it simple would be melody, and only just adding a few notes here and there. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? You know, a lot of times we just think, oh, we got to add all this stuff. We got to add all this stuff. And, you know, all that stuff's good, but you don't have to. You can play it simply, and it sounds just great, especially if you're playing with other musicians as well there. But even if you're not, the melody is the most important thing. So, anyway. Oh, they tell me far beyond the sky. Tell me here comes the chorus. Where I'd be singing harmony. Okay, so we're back into the verse. Okay, I'm pretty decent at that one, so we'll move on. We'll move on to the next one. I've done that one before, but, you know, and I don't do the best chops either, but I do just a sort of chop, and it's not a full G, right? But it's okay, right? It doesn't have to be, you know, I want to play cleanly, of course, but it doesn't have to be this crazy stuff. And since I'm the only offbeat player, really, I'm like the offbeat with the mandolin. Dum, bum, bum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. It's kind of a cool thing to add in our little group. Okay, let's go to the next one. Farther along. And you know, me playing this on the mandolin, it's a challenge, right? Because I play mostly dulcimer for that, right? Okay, intro. We're in G. Okay, I forgot to mention that. We're in G for the first 2 songs. Let's see. So what I would do for the intro here would be like the last line of either the verse or the chorus. So that's kind of what I would do. And another thing we do in this song is we add a couple of measures here and there in the, you'll hear it. So anyway, you know, it's not like you just sing it just like out of the hymnal, like you're in choir, right? All right, so here we go. I'm not singing again. No, yeah. Da, 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 da. Meaning I'm not the lead. Oop. And I screwed up already because I was trying to talk. But I'm not the lead singer on this. I'm just backup. So I need to have my little chop good. And I already screwed up one chord. My A. There we go. And this is just kind of how you'd work through something, right? We already had practice and we went through all these, but I need to work on it some more, right? Here we go. Da, 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 da. Chorus. Okay, so I went through first chorus, and then I did my break. I had one little bobble there, and then I went on. Now, normally, I will do this, you know, I'll run through things a few times, and then I will practice. Me and John will practice because he's the lead singer most of the time, and we'll practice, you know, Sunday morning before we go in, and Sunday afternoon before we go into the evening, and you know, run through them a few times, just a couple times, and I will refine and you know, kind of make things better, I guess you would say. But yeah, keep it simple. That's my motto. And is it the best? Am I the best mandolin player in the world? No. Am I aiming to be? No. Just aiming to bring a different instrument in there and let them hear a different sound and praise the Lord with it. So that's my main goal. And yeah, I'm not the best, but you know, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get a little better, and you'll see that at the end here for song number 4 for sure. Okay, Never Grow Old in D. Mandy kicks it off. Okay. I'm kicking most of these off basically because, okay, what's it called? In Heaven Will Never Grow Old. I'm kicking most of these off because normally the other person that would kick them off would be Gerald. But, you know, Gerald is practicing at home alone. So the person who kicks it off, right, they set the timing for the entire thing. And since John is lead singing, he can tell me, hey, I need that a little faster, I need that a little slower, whatever. And while we're practicing, you know, I can kind of remember that maybe. And it's hard to practice when you're by yourself and you know there's a singer. It's hard to do some of that, right? So you can kind of guesstimate. But as a musician, you have to be ready to play at any tempo, at whatever that kickoff tempo is. You have to manage it, right? Because it's going to always be different, no matter what, right? My heart may be beating a little fast tomorrow morning, and I may be in there just whipping it out, right? So it's good to practice at different speeds and work on things, and it's good to play along with others, whether you can do it in person or not, right? There's millions of recordings on YouTube that you can play along with, right? And every one of them's at a different speed. All right, so the next song, and I forgot to mention this too. Song 1 was 4/4 time, Uncloudy Day. Song 2, farther along, was 3/4 time. Both were in G. Now we're switching to D. And this song is in 3/4 time. It's called In Heaven Will Never Grow Old. Again, this is John lead singing, and I'm kicking it. Okay, here we go. D, right? So I got to get in the key of D. Instead of G, which is my go-to on the mandolin, G. Right? That's the one that feels more natural to me. So I have to, like, kind of think about it for a minute. Because I can whip this out in G without even thinking about it. Just because I'm more comfortable in that key, right? So I can pick out anything in G, right? But then because that's my number one key that I'm just comfortable with. But as a mandolin player, which I am not, you need to be comfortable in many keys. And really a mandolin, wow. You know, you don't see very many mandolin capos, right? On a guitar, what do you see all the time? A capo. On a banjo, what do you see all the time? A capo. On a dulcimer, who is playing with all these instruments, which is me. I think I'm like the only one that does a lot of this. You see a capo. And only on my chromatic, right? Because if not, I would be forced to limit the key we could be in and tell people, hey, you're going to have to play in my key, which, you know, that's not too great. Now, I just saw a video not too long ago of Stephen Seifert playing with an orchestra, and it was freaking amazing. But you see, he was in D, so that means they all had to be in D, okay? But it was amazing. But anyway, with singers, you got to be variable with your key. And mandolin is super, super challenging in that you need to be able to fluently play in multiple keys, and that's a challenge, right? That guitar players, usually they only play in 2 keys. I'm just off the cuff here. Usually they only play in 2 keys, and they handle that with a capo. They'll play in C using a capo with C shapes because of the way the notes are lined up. It's really cool. But they'll play in C and capo up, or they'll play in G and capo up. Now, and that's Billy strings. I mean, that's most everybody. Now, I said most. It's not everybody, because there are those musicians that can just whip it out in any key. Great. Good for you. Banjos, you're mostly going to see G, right? And using a capo. If they're playing clawhammer, though, you'll see G using a capo, or you'll see double C using a capo. But for bluegrass type things, they're going to be tuned into standard G and just use a capo to be anywhere they need to be. But that mandolin, you're not going to see a capo, which means they got to be able to, I mean, I'm telling you, the mandolin player, man, they got to really know their stuff, like for real. They can't cheat it with a capo, which I love cheating it with a capo because it's much simpler. But anyway, okay, so the song, In Heaven Will Never Grow, 3/4 time. There we go. Okay, so that's my D, that's my higher D, right? And that was G. So I gotta get in D, right? And you know, I could do this last night and I just did it. That's it. Okay. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I started on the 5th note. Okay, I said. And I went to G straight away. Okay, so that was just me working through that, right? I figured out where it needs to start for my intro, like, and there we shall never grow old. And it's the 5th note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the Bible we read a city. I'm not the lead again. What streets gotta pay with your gold. We will live in that city forever. And there we shall never grow old. We'll never grow old. In heaven we'll never grow old. We will live in that city forever. And there we shall never grow old. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so I messed up a little bit. So I need to do that again. But one thing I did at the end, kind of an arpeggio there, and I went to the higher octave of my D, right? And sometimes that's really neat when you do that. A lot of times you go down after you end your break, but sometimes it's fun to go up. Dun, 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 right? And that's 1, 3, 5, 8, or 1. And those are your scale degrees, right? 1, 2, 3. So I did 1, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 3, 5, 1. So that was kind of neat. Let's see if I could do that again. Here we go. Intro. And another thing, humming. This trains your ear too, right? You should be able to play ba-da-da-da-da. Right? You should be able to play whatever you can do. Da-da-da-da. Right? So work on that too. Someone is okay. Work on that too, right? That's a great piece of advice on any instrument there. Whatever you can, if you can if you can convert anything you hum onto your instrument in the right key, that's the way to go, right? And it's a skill and it takes work, right? And it's nothing special. I'm not anything special with this. So, and what does it all come back to? Your scale degrees. And everybody hates scales, but you know what? Da 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 da. That's the G, right? So differences. Just learn one to start with, right? But anyway, okay, here we go. You see how my brain just flies all over the place with this. And why am I doing this? I don't know. I want some variety, right? I always do these lessons. And I'm just, I'm wanting to do different things. So, all right, here we go. I thought you might want to come along today and do this. And yeah, we're about 21 minutes. So it might take a half hour to go through your 4 songs that you need, right? But I also have a 5th song that I need because I do the offering at night. So I'll have to think of something to do on here for that as well. And I'll do that. And sometimes I'll play with 2 instruments, sometimes just 1, blah, 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 right? But I wanted to just do this on the mandolin. So anyway, and we're about to get into the really hard one. So, okay, here we go. I just practiced that, right? I won't do that for my intro, but I just wanted to practice that little up. In the Bible we read of a city. City, whatever. In heaven we'll never grow old. In heaven we'll never grow old. We'll live in that city forever. And there we shall never grow old. Okay, that one's better. All right, so I can move on. And you know, you might spend a bunch of time doing this, right? It might take longer. You might only work on 1 or 2. I wanted to show you real quick. I have this turned to dark, but this is all I look at when I'm looking at stuff. I'm not looking at tabs or nothing like that. It's just a chord chart, right? A lead sheet sort of a thing. And that one wasn't even correct. There was something weird on the bottom of it. But, okay, let's get on to song number 4. This is a real challenge for me. I wanted to kind of use the other 3 as a warm-up. This is In the Garden. And we're doing it in D. Glenda's going to be lead singing it. You know. And we got a lot of pauses and things like that. And I've got some chords to look up because I don't even know them. Right? And my, yeah. So, okay, all right. I don't know every chord on this thing, not even remotely, but I know a few cheats that I could use. So, okay, let's see. And I'm leading this in, and we have a pause, right? So the way I would lead this is, and the joy we share as we tarry there. None other has ever known. Right, that's something that I would play. And this, you know, I sometimes think in choruses and sometimes I think in verses. Really depends. But this is one of those songs where the verse and chorus are a little bit different, like the chords you go to and stuff. So it's not always, you don't always do it as the verse, in other words. So like for this, we're not even playing breaks. We're just playing no, we're not even playing turns. We have a little pause. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So there's no turns. Okay, so let me just get into this a little bit. And this has got that C sharp. Is that a C sharp? Yes. Except my tuning's going haywire. But yeah, this is a C sharp. This is the one with you know, there's a couple of songs that have those funky notes in it, like the Old Rugged Cross. And the Old Rugged Cross has that G sharp note. And this is, we're playing this in the key of D too. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's 3/4 time and key of D, because that's what Glenda wanted to sing in. All right, so here we go. Let's see. Let me try this again. And the voice I hear calling on my ear, has ever known. It's hard for me if I talk while I'm doing it sometimes. Right? And then Glenda just comes in whenever she wants. I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. All right, and let me tell you another couple of things I'm doing. I'm cheating here. So I'm not playing what I should be playing, right? Because like I said, I don't know all the chords. So E7, A7, I'm cheating and playing sort of a cheat E and just a plain A, right? And what happens is when you have all these other instruments, that works out to be okay, all right? So everybody else will be, not everybody, but well, most everybody will be playing those seventh chords, and I'll be chucking, right? That I'm doing a cheater E here. And I'll chuck the major chord, okay? And I know that sounds a little weird, and it doesn't work every time, but a lot of times it does. So that's what I'm using there, and it sounds just fine. Again, not every time, and yes, I need to learn more chords on this. But I have some other chords that I really need to try to work on a little bit that are in the chorus. So anyway, and also I forgot, I'm working on tremolo just a smidge, and I'm really terrible at it. So I'm gonna try, since this is a slow song, I can sort of do a little bit of teensy slow tremolo, right? So, okay, all right, back to it. I'm gonna do the intro again because I just need work on it. And the joy we share as we tarry boom, boom, boom. I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the rose. I screwed up. Okay. And you know, you screw up. All right. So. I come to the garden alone. All the dew is still on the road. Alright, there's a car slowing down. What you doing? I don't have a lot of cars on my street, so when a car slows down and looks, you know, I gotta go. Hey, what's up? There is a house for sale down the street, but all right. So, back to and the joy, and the voice I hear calling on my ear. The Son of God discloses. We have a little pause, and we all come in, and He walks with me, and He talks with me, and He tells me I am His own, and the joy we share. So I need a F sharp 7. So there's my F sharp note, and the joy we share, and the joy we share as we tarry. So I need a F sharp 7 and I need a B minor. So what I'm going to do is sort of cheat those. I'm going to do a F sharp and an F sharp. I'm just going to sort of cheat it a little bit. And the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. Born today speaks, and the sound of His voice. And I'm going to try to add in just a little bit of tremolo on those D's. Just on the D's. And not every time, just every now and then. But I really need to work on that. I didn't want to go too much more than 30 minutes here. And I had a lot of screw-ups, you see. So I need to practice a little bit and do more with it, right? But you can cheat things, okay? So is it going to work all the time? No. And should you want to be a cheater? No, but you know, it works sometimes. So I'm not the lead instrument. I'm just a kind of a supporting instrument here on this because we're doing we don't really have a lead when we're singing so much, right? And I'm not doing a break, so I don't have to be you know, I need to be in the ballpark, but I don't have to be perfect there. It'll still sound okay. So, would anybody else tell you to do this? I don't know if they would. But, you know, my goal is to play really to where you don't really think much of it as far as, okay, I want to be a good player. I want to be on time. I want to, you know, do my breaks right. I want to do my intros right? I want to do all that. I'm going to make mistakes. Yes, I really am going to make mistakes. I'm just going to make mistakes. Okay, you guys. But I want it to, I don't want to stand out, right? I want to be in there with everybody. And we all are at the same, you know, right? Gerald's he plays one string at a time a lot, right? And he's doing these nice little fills and little things and dewey dads. And on the mandolin, I don't really have to do that, right? You're not the most important thing in the band, okay? And that's what I'm trying to say. And in a band situation, you know, everybody has their own role, right? There's that car coming by again. That's right, get out. Am I not friendly? I'm friendly, I love everybody, but I like my peace and quiet in my neighborhood. Okay, so I don't know if you learned anything or not today. I hope you did. You may have learned, boy, Mandy's not a good mandolin player. And you know what? That's okay. I'm not really striving to be the best mandolin player in the world. What I am striving to do is praise the Lord with music, right? And make a joyful noise. And make it joyful, not yucky, right? I want to blend, I want us all to sound beautiful together. And sometimes you have to work, you know, you really have to work at that. You don't want to be, I've found before that I had an instrument so loud that I had a hard time quieting it down. And I was sitting down, so I couldn't move away from the mic. And that's not a good thing. So you have to think about, you don't want to overpower everybody. So I'm getting real philosophical here, right? But, you know, in a band setting, you, again, are not the most important thing. Sorry about that close-up. You're not the most important thing. Your role is to make the singer sound good in the band. If you have a singer, your whole job is to make that singer sound good. And you do that by playing good backup. Now, does it have to be intricate? Somebody should be doing some fills and little things. Do they have to? No, but we have Gerald who does that, which is great. Now, I'm trying to learn that more. I'm doing it on the Mountain Dulcimer, but I'm doing fills and things like that. And that's fun to me, like really trying to find fills during lyrical pauses and things. And, you know, if you want to play with other musicians, you know, these are all things you have to think about and learn how to practice by yourself. And one of the best tools for that is Strum Machine. I cannot harp on Strum Machine enough. Such that I'm going to put my 30-day link down below. Free 30-day link down below to Strum Machine. You guys, you will have rock solid timing if you play with Strum Machine, okay? And it's just so important to have timing. If somebody in your group is out of time, and hey, you know, there are just times when you're not thinking right, you're not focused in enough, and you might not be playing perfectly in time. So, you know, there has to be, you know, if everybody's playing on their own time, wow, that's not good. All right, so the ramblings, the mind going all over the place, this is me. Those little clips that you see of me just teaching a lesson or whatever, those are edited down. That's not really me. I'm kind of all over the place. Now, when I do a workshop, I'm focused for an hour on that one thing. And I will, I focus it in, right? And I have my materials ahead of time that I know what I'm going to teach you. And I've ran through them multiple times before I get in there so that I present the best I can, right? In that 1 hour, I give you, usually they're an hour, I give you, you know, that material. But here's a half hour, again, of me just kind of being me, which is, I do just sort of ramble and like go all over the place with my thoughts and my playing, right? And that's probably the reason, and man, I'm just yakking up a storm here, but that's probably the reason that I cannot force myself to stay with one instrument. I don't know what my problem is there, but I just can't. But I will say that playing all these other instruments really helps me. It really helps me on every other instrument I play. And I don't know why, but it does. It really, really does. Taking things from the mandolin and putting them onto the Mountain Dulcimer, things that they do there, and, you know, vice versa, and all that stuff. It really helps me. And I don't know if you're like that or not. I see people all the time who've played one instrument for like ever, And that's the only one they play. Now, it might be the only one you see them play. Not necessarily means they don't play more, but they play that one instrument. They play it so well and blah, for years. And I don't know. I could never do that. So I guess I'm always going to be kind of okay-ish at most of them instead of spectacular on one. And, looking at my journey and myself, that's okay. I'm okay with that. I want to be decent at a bunch of them so that I can present different things to people when I'm playing in church and in these little gigs we do and stuff like that, community center, nursing home. I want them to be able to hear different things because people will really love the sound of one over another or something like that. There's a fella in church who loves it when I bring the mandolin. So I hope he'll really love this tomorrow. I really hope he does. And he always, every time I bring it, he's like, I want you to play this on it or whatever. And, he said that, and I need to ask him again. What was the name of that song you wanted me to play? But, and then other people like certain other, things like that. And I try to do my best. But anyway, my goal in life is to play music and play it for the Lord and be a blessing to other people. In that, I don't screw up as much, right? I don't want to be a spectacular musician. That's not the goal, okay? The goal is to be a blessing to others through music. And I can do that by keeping it simple. It doesn't have to be, I don't have to be Chris Thiele on this. Whew. But anyway, I've rambled for 42 minutes, y'all. If you stuck around, wow. I hope you have a glorious day, and God bless you, and I love you. Bye-bye, y'all.